This is the current state of our bathroom in our new one-bedroom flat that we just bought 6 weeks ago. And if you're wondering why on earth does your bathroom look like that?
We have a leak. A fairly big leak.
Well, we found an extensive leak under the bathtub when we got the keys to the flat.
Our floor is disintegrating,
Which meant we had no choice but to rip the entire bathroom out.
It's all gonna come. Ready? 3, 2, 1.
I'm now attempting to rebuild this bathroom myself, even though I've never done anything like this before.
This doesn't bode well for plumbing, does it? If I can't even undo this bloody thing.
So join me as I attempt to DIY renovate our dream bathroom, and I learn all of this on the job.
So, hopefully, as you guys know, we are going to have a different layout in this bathroom. Vanity unit is going to go here. We're going to have the toilet here instead of in the back corner where it was before. And instead of having the shower or the bath running this way, which again is what happened originally, we're actually going to have the shower running the width of the room, which hopefully should mean the bathroom should be a little bit more practical, a little bit more spacious, and just a slightly better design. The first thing I'm going to do this morning is try to run a cable from inside the wall underneath the floorboards and over to what will be the back wall of our shower. The reason I want to run a cable is because I'm going to try and build a shower niche. I also want to take it up another notch and attempt to put an LED strip light in the niche, because that will just look fancy and nice. You can see we've already got cables underneath the floorboards. However, they're not actually our cables. They are the person living below's power cables to their lights. And I did think, oh, maybe I could tap into their power source. That way they can pay for the lighting in here rather than me.
So the first step to kick off this entire bathroom rebuild was to run some new electrical wires, as like I said, I wanted to add some new LED lights into this bathroom.
Oh my God. Why is the wiring in this flat so confusing? What is that? There is just a loose live cable with a bit of brown tape on it. That is not good. How am I meant to know what is what?
I want to stress at this point that I am not an electrician, but to be totally honest, I don't think the person that wired up this flat was either. The inside of this electrical back box was an absolute mess with cables everywhere, and like I just showed you, some live wires not even connected or terminated safely. I decided to come up with my own wiring system by labeling the cables myself and working out one by one exactly what each cable was meant to do. And honestly, after about an hour, I had a much simpler and far more organized wiring setup.
So now I've got all of the cables that I need to wire up to this switch.
Next, I just needed to work out exactly how to run this cable through the wall and underneath the floor.
My original plan was to drill a hole at the bottom up into this cavity in the wall here so that I could feed the cable through the other side of the switch down the wall and then it would drop down here. However, what I didn't consider is that there's joists in the way and I can't even push my rod down into the wall, so there's no way of actually getting a cable from here down there. So the only thing that I can think of doing is cut out a section of plasterboard, which would then expose the joists and the bottom floorboards, and then I can drill my holes and easily fish the wires through.
So to work out exactly where the joist was sitting in the wall, I'd take my electrical rod and I'd prod it through into the cavity of the wall until I hit a joist. I'd then measure that length on the rod and then transfer this onto the wall. And then I'd repeat the same process for the upright joist. You'll understand why exactly I'm doing this in just a second. Now I had it all marked up, I could just get my multi-tool and cut out the plasterboard.
Oh! I'm an absolute wizard, Harry! Call me Bob the Flipping Builder. I can actually go a little bit higher on this one. I'd mark that pretty damn well. We're on the joists so that when I put the plasterboard back on, I've got somewhere to screw it into. Fan-bloody-tastic.
I love it when a plan comes together. Now that was done, I just needed to trim the top a little and then take out the insulation. Next, I could start the drilling process so that I could actually feed my new electrical cable in down this wall.
Whoa. Oh boy, oh boy, oh boy. we have liftoff.
Now I could feed my cable through the top joist and into the switch. I just needed to drill another hole into the floor.
Hello there. Ah, that's hot flipping heck. Hot piece of wood.
With both holes successfully drilled, I ran a new power cable from the light switch down through the holes and under what will be our new floor. I then repeated the same process, as I knew I needed to take out this piece of plasterboard here because this is where our vanity unit was going to go. And I knew that I was going to put a 12-volt transformer in here to power the LED strip lights. It also meant that I had access to the water pipes so I could see exactly what was going on, because we did have one of these pipes that came completely loose, so I just wanted to make sure that nothing was leaking. And then to run this cable through neatly, I just had to cut a channel out in this joist. And then I grabbed some 2-core 12-volt wire and I just started to run this cable from where those pipes were underneath the floor and then into the rough locations of where I wanted the LED lights to be. Hopefully that makes some sort of sense. It makes sense in my head, but now that is done, it finally means that I can start to relay the floor in here. I went to Wickes yesterday and got some 18mm P5 or T5 tongue and groove floorboards. It's exactly the same that was already on the floor. However, that was completely rotted. That doesn't look particularly healthy, doesn't it? The first step to get this flooring laid down was to cut all of the sheets to size, which was an absolute breeze with my new handyman skills. And would you bloody believe it, first time it fit straight in. Next I just added a bunch of screws to secure this down to the joist. And then before I knew it, the next piece was ready to go and slot in first time. I then added some wood glue to the tongue and groove to reduce any potential creaking or cracking. And with a few more screws and just an hour's work, and of course the beautiful power of video editing, we had the floor done and dusted. I wish it was that easy. This is how it really went.
Oh God. Oh God. Piss off. Really? If this doesn't go, then I'm gonna lose my sh**. Oh, you dickhead. I've screwed it down wrong, and I've just actually read the writing there that says this side down. I have done it this side up. So I think we're gonna have to start again. F***ing hell, what a nightmare this has turned into. I hate this. Oh sh**. I need to cut the lip off, you little twat.
So I can't lie to you, this floor was the biggest pain in my arse I have ever experienced. Probably one of the most frustrating things that I've ever done.
Everyone's gonna say, oh, why don't you get the professionals in? Why don't you get a plumber, an electrician, a bathroom fitter? Because it costs an absolute fortune. And I was gonna say it's good fun to try and do things yourself, which it is, when things go right. But when they go wrong, like this, it's very, very frustrating.
A big part to play in all of this is the room is not square whatsoever. I know it probably looks quite square on camera, but trust me, not only is the room not square, but these joists were running at all different funny angles, which made my life so hard trying to lay this floor.
I don't understand the measurements at all of this room. Ah! Oh my God.
That's pretty good.
So trying to make sure that I had all the right measurements and then walking up and down the stairs a million times to cut little bits off, it was an absolute faff. And after 2.5 days of measuring, cutting, screwing, gluing, and a lot of swearing, we finally got there.
I've got to be totally honest with you, I had to stop filming because I was just getting extremely pissed off, to be honest with you. It was very frustrating doing this bathroom floor. My carpentry skills are still skills that need to be thoroughly improved, and it does not help at all that this room just is not square level or even in any way, shape or form. I'm definitely not 100% happy with how it's come out in terms of the gaps on some of the edges and a couple of the floorboards not really lining up perfectly, but it's my first time ever doing anything like this, and a lot of these gaps on the side, especially on this side, will all be covered by the sheet of plasterboard that I need to put here, and then of course we are going to paint it, and then in the shower we will have some bathroom panels to put on the walls. So all of these little gaps and stuff will be covered, but the main thing is it's nice and sturdy. It isn't creaking, it isn't cracking, it's going absolutely nowhere. And now I actually have a floor that I can stand on, sit on, fart on, do whatever the hell I want on. So now you might ask, what is next? And that is a great question. And to be honest with you, I need to figure that out. However, I thought before we figure that out, I should show you exactly what is going in this bathroom and the layout that we're going for, because everything's arrived. So the shower tray that we've gone for is a stone shower tray, because I don't know a lot about shower trays. They are a little bit sturdier, stronger, and less likely to crack. Never fitted a shower tray, which we're not going to do right now, but just want to get a feel for how everything works and holes that I need to drill. It was great that now I had all of the physical components that were going to make up our new bathroom. Here we have it, the towel radiator. Quite nice, that. Matte black. It gave me a real boost of motivation and excitement just to see how all of this was going to look together. Nice! Look at that. That is a nice big shower head. Woo! It's all coming to life. Oh. The toilet also just arrived today. Never fixed the toilet in my life. Oh my god. Oh. But let's put that roughly in position. Oh, this is amazing. You can get a real feel for the whole kind of bathroom now. Wow, oh my god. I wish I could use this, but unfortunately I can't just yet. The last thing to open up was the new vanity unit and the sink. Evie is very, very excited for this because she chose this. The vanity unit. I like it. I like it. With everything now in place, this is what our new bathroom layout should hopefully look like, giving us more space and making the bathroom far more practical than how it was previously. Now we knew what the new layout was going to look like, I needed to get back to some more DIY bathroom renovation. This doesn't bode well for plumbing, does it? If I can't even undo this bloody thing. And I want to remind you that this is all completely new to me. I have never done anything like this before. Okay. There we go. So I'm figuring all of this out on the job and step by step. So, Will, what am I about to do? Think with your brain. What I'm doing is moving the water pipes that were plumbed into the radiator because the original radiator sat behind the door, which wasn't very practical. So I cut back the original pipes to the position that I now needed them to be in. Then I grabbed this 90-degree elbow joint, pushed that on, and then I cut some copper pipe and then put this onto my new elbow joint. I then had to repeat this exact same process for the cold water feed. If you guys are enjoying this video so far, then please do me a huge favor and make sure to give the video a like, as it really helps the YouTube algorithm and my channel out. And if you want to see more dodgy DIY, then consider subscribing. I want to say it's as simple as that, but I've moved the radiator pipes, hopefully in roughly the right position. We still have a bit of leeway to go left or right. Likewise on this pipe, up and down as well. I whacked a couple of isolation valves on both ends of the pipe, again because when I turn the water on for the rest of the flat, I don't want the water to be coming out my new radiator pipes, which are currently plumbed in to nothing. Now I'd moved the pipes, I could start reconstructing this wall that I'd previously ripped out because of all of the damage that the leak had caused. I'd gone and picked myself up some moisture resistant plasterboard, cut this to size and drilled a hole for my new pipe. Oh, I just realised I'm an idiot. Why did I put that on when I need to put the pipe through the hole first and then put the isolator valve on? How annoying.
After I'd taken the isolation valve off, I could just feed my new radiator pipe through the plasterboard. And then again, I just had to repeat that exact same process, but for the other pipe.
I am good.
All that was left to do was just to screw this back to the wall. And now, hopefully, fingers crossed, I've successfully moved my radiator.
Booyakasha! This side of the wall is all replastered. I am not screwing back the plasterboard where the radiator is because I want to fully 100% test that the connections I've done inside the wall are completely watertight and there's no leaks. So we'll save that for a rainy day, but at least now I can dry fit the radiator just to see how that's going to sit and get the fixings in for that.
Before that though, there was still some more DIY plumbing to be done at the back of the wall, which originally had two pipes down here on the right, which were for the bath taps, and then there were also two pipes going up for the shower. So I had to completely rearrange and move these pipes just by cutting them to length and moving them around to the exact positions where my new shower was going to be located. I also had to blank off a few pipes as well because there was some pipes that were no longer going to be needed, like for this toilet waste pipe, which is no longer going to be in the back corner of the room. After that, I wanted to get out the new towel radiator, one to make sure that my pipes were in the right place, and also just to get an idea of exactly where this needs to sit on the wall.
Okay, we have done a bit of basic DIY plumbing. So what I've done is remove the shower kind of connections that were going here, and I've actually removed those pipes and just blanked them off because these pipes can now get hidden in the wall.
Those two pipes that I'm talking about, I actually later completely removed and just added some straight coupler joints because they were completely irrelevant and didn't need to be there at all.
I've added a couple of straight pipe connectors down there for the hot and cold feed and moved the bathroom taps that were running this way over to this side. Because all very exciting. A few little elbow joints on that, and the pipes are currently just sticking out here temporarily because I have got a very, very exciting Saturday. I've got a friend coming over called Russ, who is a professional bathroom fitter, and he has offered to come and give me a hand, which I am so, so grateful for. And it's going to be so much fun to, one, learn from somebody that knows what they're doing, but also make a lot of progress over the weekend with two people working in the bathroom. You may or may not have noticed, I actually moved the radiator points further down because for some reason, in the instruction manual to the radiator, just to prove this to you, it says here, put the towel rail parallel onto the wall 60 centimeters above the ground. So initially, I did exactly that. I put my radiator pipes 60 centimeters off the ground. And then Evie came home later that evening and said, that radiator looks like it's gonna be way too high. And you know what? She was perfectly right to say that because it did look ridiculously high. The radiator would have finished up here. So I've now moved it to about 350 mil off the ground, which now means that the radiator is going to sit at a much more reasonable height, like this, instead of all the way up here.
So now with Russ here to help me, we were able to tackle some of the jobs that I was really unsure on and I also didn't have the right tools for. The first thing we did was drill a new hole for our toilet waste, the pipe where your poo and wee goes down, because we were moving the toilet from the corner of the room to now the center of the room underneath this window.
Whoa! That is brilliant.
Now we had our new toilet waste hole, we just needed to do a bit of work to the outside pipes to make sure everything matched up. Next, Russ then left me to chip out the old waste pipe as that was no longer needed. So I started chipping away at the brickwork of the outside of the building and eventually the whole thing came loose.
Hey, who's the guy?
After a whole day with Russ, we managed to feed in our new waste pipe. And we also managed to do the plumbing for the shower waste trap, so now I knew exactly where my shower tray needed to line up. If you guys are on the hunt for a good kitchen and bathroom fitter down in the south of England, then make sure to check out Russ's company, White Knight Kitchens, where they do some really cool projects. Now I had most of my plumbing done in the bathroom, I started to build my shower tray base that the shower tray would actually sit on. So I started to make a base for this just by using some 2x4, screwing this all down to the ground, and then eventually fixing it all together. The only problem was I'd never really done anything like this before. So I was constantly second guessing myself, questioning whether I was doing things in the right or wrong way. And after a lot of pondering, I wasn't happy at all with the design of my shower tray. So I decided to start again. I'm going to be totally honest with you. I am so close to just giving up. I'm getting so frustrated and pissed off that I just don't I don't really know what I'm doing. But, you know, that's the beauty of all of this stuff, trying to give it a go and trying to figure out how to do it. But, me sideways, it's very overwhelming. The thing is, there's so many different ways to do something. That is the thing that's winding me up. And I do not know the right way, the best way, the most practical way, the fastest way. I started to do the floor as you've seen, and then I thought, no, that's not the best way to do it. So now I'm trying to build a square frame and then put the legs on the bottom. But things are going wrong. I'm wasting pieces of wood. I'm taking out all of the work that I've just spent the entire morning doing. This is very frustrating. I don't really know how to explain it, to be honest with you, other than the feeling of frustration and in my head thinking it's simple and that anyone should be able to do this, but I can't do it, or I'm really struggling to figure out how to do it. Anyway, I'm gonna crack on and try and get the tray base built today. We now have ourselves a shower tray base, which I did finish off building yesterday. The good news is the shower tray base is 90% done. The only thing left to do is to put a piece of ply on top, which I'll show you in a minute. The not so good thing is that I have done my backing, which really is not good, because there's still a fair bit of work to do in this bathroom. I was on my hands and knees all day yesterday, drilling in the most awkward positions, cutting on my hands and knees, and my back just went. We've got the shower trap, which lines up wonderfully. I just need to move it over slightly as there is a bit of movement in the pipe, so that's going to work perfectly. I don't want to stop. I don't want to halt to progress because it feels like things are actually getting done. Okay. So what I'm going to focus on today is building this stud wall, which is going to go from about here all the way down to our shower tray, because as I said before, this is about an 80mm gap which I need to lose. So I've basically got to build myself a fake wall. So to start building this stud wall or fake wall, whatever you want to call it, this is a wall that is going to have my shower attached to it, and it's also going to make the space where the shower tray is smaller so that everything fits perfectly. I grabbed a couple of lengths of 2x4, pre-drilled some holes in the wood and then marked this on the wall, put some raw plugs in and then just fixed this all to the plasterboard wall. And then I just repeated the exact same process for the other batten on the other side. Next, I needed to work out exactly where my hot and cold and shower on and shower off valves were going to sit. So I bought this metal fixing plate from Screwfix. I knew I needed to space this off the wall at the same depth of the piece of battens that I just put on the sides. So I just grabbed a couple of offcuts and just used this as a spacer. Then I whacked a couple of screws into the metal shower plate, just making sure that everything was nice and level and in the center. After this, I could turn my attention back to the plumbing and start actually plumbing in the hot and cold feed that was going to supply the shower. I'm not going to explain the whole process of this, so watch me while I do it and you'll see what I've done at the end of this little montage. sure in the future as I get more experience doing work and jobs like this that I'll actually be able to explain it to you as I'm doing it. But for right now, all you have to know is I plumbed in the hot and cold feed for the shower.
Right, yet again, it is time to test my plumbing work to see if there's any leaks going on inside the wall, in my connections here, and then in the new piece of plumbing and pipe work that I've done. If there's no leaks, that's fantastic news, because it means I can add a couple more joists in here and then I can put the plasterboard over this and this can all be closed off. But let me go and turn the water back on. And fingers crossed, we've got no leaks.
So I tested all my new plumbing just to make sure that we had no leaks and that everything was watertight. Annoyingly, there was a tiny little leak coming from the isolation valve, so I just needed to tighten that all back up and then all of this new plumbing was good to go. After this, I started to add a couple new pieces of batten into my new fake wall, as I knew that I would need something to screw into. And then once that was done, I managed to pick up a sheet of 12mm ply, which was going to be the base to my shower tray. The first thing I needed to do was to cut out a hole for where the shower trap was going to sit. I cut this to size, made sure to sand everything down, and then fitted it onto the shower tray and fixed it all down with a bunch of different screws. You can see here that I added a couple more battens onto the wall just to add a bit more strength, and the shower tray base came out really good. I used a few packers to make sure everything was nice and level, and like I said, I put plenty of screws in to make sure that this thing wasn't going anywhere. I was on an absolute roll at this point and decided to plow on and start plasterboarding this back wall that we just created. I drilled 2 holes for our new hot and cold feed pipes.
No, you idiot, Will. God damn it. I've drilled the holes in the wrong spot because I didn't account for the floor. Oh, flipping Nora. I am an idiot. Oh, just as things were going so well.
A few moments later.
Well, I should have been filming again, but I wasn't. Sake.
After a bit of a wet end to the day, I came back the day after with a nice dry t-shirt and with a newfound motivation to get this fake wall finished off. After some long hours, some late nights, and a lot of hard work, I finally had something that started to look like an actual shower room. Here we go. One back wall is all plasterboarded up. I've got the pipes exactly where I need them to be, nice and level. We've got a lovely gap all the way around the side of the shower tray. So now the final thing that I want to do before I board and close this wall up is I want to build a shower niche, because that is the reason that I ran 12-volt cable here, so we have a niche to put shampoos, conditioners, whatever it is inside here with a nice LED strip light. How that's going to happen, I haven't quite figured that out just yet. So I really hadn't figured out exactly how I was going to build this niche yet. Like with everything to do with building, there's always 1,000 different ways to do something, and there was even an option to buy a £300 to £400 plastic pre-made box. But I thought, hell to that, I'm not spending that much money, so I'm going to try and build my own one. Before that though, I needed to get a good understanding and take some measurements of exactly where I wanted this niche to go. This meant that a lot of the joists and noggins that were already in the wall were completely in my way, so I had to start cutting things out. I knew that any support pieces of stud that I'd taken out, I'd then have to put back by reinforcing them elsewhere, so that's exactly what I did. Again, I want to reiterate that I'm not a carpenter. I'm literally making this up as I go along and just trying to use some common sense to work out exactly where things need to be. All of this is going to make sense once I show you what I've done at the end. As I mentioned, I didn't want to go spending a couple of £100 on a pre-made plastic box which you can just insert to make a niche. So I decided to build my own one out of ply. I cut 4 small sheets of ply to make the side of a box. I then pre-drilled some holes, added some wood glue and screwed this all together to make the basic frame of a box. Then all I had to do was put some wood glue on the edges of my new box, cut a sheet of ply to fit the back, and then stick and screw it all down. And after about an hour, I had my own £30 DIY homemade niche.
I'm an absolute genius. I am an absolute genius. This is incredible. This might be the best thing I have ever done. Now I just need to work out how to fix it.
So to fix this into position was actually fairly easy. I just grabbed myself a few different packers, made sure that everything was level, made sure I accounted for things like plasterboard and then my bathroom wall panels going on top, and then all I had to do was just screw it all together.
Time to put the installation back.
The last step before I could finally start to rebuild this wall by putting plasterboard back was just to stuff all of the old insulation back into place, and then I could just crack on and start putting all of this new blue plasterboard, which is moisture resistant. However, I was having one major problem.
My back is gone again. I'm gonna get all this finished and then I'll see you after. Oh my God. I actually don't know if I can finish this right now. Oh, my back is in bits.
So my back was in absolute agony, but I was so close and I felt so determined that no matter what, I just wanted to get all of this back wall completely plasterboarded. But I pushed things a little bit too far.
Well, here I am on the kitchen floor, literally unable to move. Because my back is completely gone. Oh, it keeps spasming, lower back. The floor is the most semi-comfortable place. Don't push yourself too much. I could feel my back going, but I was so close to finishing the plasterboard that I just wanted to get it done.
At this point in the bathroom renovation, and this being the third video that you've watched, this was now week 4 of working on the bathroom. And the whole time, from ripping all of this bathroom apart and using my body in various different ways, constantly on my hands and knees, the last 4 weeks had taken its toll. After some rest and recovery and giving my back a well-deserved break, I wanted to continue on and get back to things as quickly as I could. So the first thing I did was come and cut this poo pipe. Then I could grab the toilet pan connector to make sure that everything was lining up and everything fit exactly the way it should. After that, I had lots more plumbing to continue on with, which unfortunately meant taking out more plasterboard. I started to do all of the remaining plumbing left in the bathroom, like our new vanity unit and sink needed a new hot and cold water supply. I also had to add in a new pipe for the toilet flush system, as well as starting to wire in and connect my 12-volt transformer that was going to feed and supply the power to my new LED lights. The last few jobs before I felt like I was on the final stages of this bathroom renovation was just to start gluing and fixing the wastewater pipe for our new sink, and then again I wanted to make sure that everything was going to line up and fit correctly, so I did a dry fit of our new vanity unit. I spent a good bit of time moving this around, making sure that the pipes were going to line up exactly where they needed to be. The last step to finish the plumbing was just to glue it all together. And again, this was something that I'd never done before, but was actually pretty straightforward. Right, the plumbing, I believe, is all done for the vanity unit and the toilet, the cistern. So the water is now on, and I'm just checking that there's no leaks, which is fantastic. So you've got the cold feed, the hot feed, we've got the toilet cistern teeing off into the cold feed, which will feed that. And then of course we've got our waste pipe. So what I want to do quickly is just test this pipe here. When I turn now this isolation valve on, we should have water coming out of what will be the toilet pipe. I'm scared. Okay, we've had to make a few little adjustments because I was dry fitting the toilet and my pipe that was originally coming out here was no good. So I've moved that down here. I had to go and get a longer flexi pipe connector, which will connect to that, and then that will feed the cistern and actually fill up the toilet. So now that's all connected, I'm going to dry fit it and make sure that everything fits exactly how it should. Now I knew that the toilet fitted in nice and snug and I dry fitted absolutely everything. The final thing to do to make this bathroom feel like an actual room again was to start putting this plasterboard all back together. After some seriously long hours, a bad back, a lot of mistakes, and a whole lot of persistence, I finally felt like the bathroom was coming back to life. I don't have an outro to this video because I forgot to do one, but if you enjoyed it, please make sure to leave a like and drop a comment down below with any useful tips or advice. Subscribe if you want to see part 4, which will be the final video of this entire DIY bathroom renovation.